Welcome back to the Misunderstood Introverted Black Girl podcast with your host, Xylia. And we talk about all things from childhood trauma, finances, womanhood, healing, growth, transformation, pretty much anything to do with becoming your better self. And if you guys don't know, you guys can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and follow our Instagram and TikTok for podcast clips. We're going to be starting a new series, which is going to be a series on healing from a breakup, and it's called Heartbroken to Heal. So this is part 1. I'm going to give you 5 of my personal tips on how to heal from a breakup, as your girl has gone through her first real breakup after a 5 to 6 year toxic relationship. So it wasn't, just a normal breakup. It was just a little extra thrown into the mix. First thing that I suggest you doing is to look at old pictures of yourself. You tend to forget that you were a person before you were in a relationship. You start to plan out your life, we're gonna have kids, we're gonna have a house, we're gonna do this, and it's like, even if those things did happen, sometimes it's not the way that you would have seen it. So when you look back at old pictures of yourself, it kind of reminds you of, oh, when I was this age, I had these goals. When I was this age, I didn't even know him. When I was this age, I was this and that. And I feel like that's really important because you start to lose your sense of self. And sometimes it gets really toxic in a way that you lose your sense of self if you get overly obsessed and invested into the relationship, especially if it was toxic from experience, okay? So I highly suggest that you look at old pictures of yourself, maybe look at old videos of like, who was I before this? Because you have to get back to that, but you're going to get to a healed version of that, not the exact same person. But it's a start to get you out the mindset of the role you were playing, if you was a girlfriend or if you was a wife or if you was a boyfriend or if you was a husband, into getting into, I'm Xylia. I'm back to the person I was before we was a couple, before we was a thing, before we was a relationship. I'm back to just me, solo, and I gotta figure this out. Second thing that I suggest you doing is to reach out to at least one person. During this time, I did only reach out to literally one person, which was my grandfather, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I really wasn't gonna do that, but he had called me while everything was happening, right? He called me while everything's happening, and I'm like, I have to let someone know because I'm so sad right now and I'm so hurt. Like, I just want someone to know what's going on because I know how to just keep everything to myself. It is a toxic trait that I need to work on, but that's why I have a therapist now. But I know how to keep everything to myself. So this whole time, if he didn't know, nobody would have known until I wanted everybody to know. And I just now, maybe a couple months in, maybe 2 or 3 months in, started to really say that I was single or out of a relationship. And the reasoning why, only select few know on that. But honestly, it was very toxic. And the more that I go to therapy, that I understand that I was more of in a trauma bond than into a loving, healthy relationship. So it was a lot. It was a lot of things that I didn't know. As a kid, this relationship started when I was maybe around 17 to 18, and I'm 23 now. So I just learned so much. Even over the years, this is a very important set of years. So I grew up from like, a young girl, teenage girl, to like a young woman. So we're learning a lot, and we're not accepting a lot, and we're just understanding a lot wasn't what I thought it was as a 17-year-old version of myself. But that's what growing is for. Sometimes you gotta go through it to learn from it, and that's just how it is. Number 3, in a world full of people who want you to hate your ex, I'm telling you, you don't have to hate them. Because in all reality, do y'all know it requires energy to hate somebody? So as much as they could have done you wrong, and trust me, if I wanted to tell my truth, I would probably be like, I hate him for you. And I'll be like, okay, you can hate him, but I'm just going to choose not to. I get angry at the situation. I get mad at the situation. Sometimes I do maybe feel like I hate him. But then I'm like, me hating someone or holding a grudge against someone is a little more requiring my energy than I thought. So it's better to just release it, give it to God, and say, you know what? You messed up, honey. You just messed up. And I just gotta learn from my mistakes and not put myself in a situation like this again. And that's what it is. Like, I'm kind of thankful for the situation, so I can't really be hateful towards it because the amount of things I've learned and the growth that I've had within a 4-month span is amazing. and it wouldn't have happened if we did not break up, or if I did not have to go through a breakup. So you really have to try to look at the positive out of the situation. And I know it's early on, you ain't doing that, so I know, trust me, I know. But later on, you have to start seeing that you're gonna glow up and seeing that you're gonna get a lot more blessings now that this is over, especially if it wasn't right for you, or if it wasn't ever supposed to be for you. Number 4 is pouring into yourself like you poured into them. You know, when you're in a relationship and you're like, oh, he needs this, she needs this. Now you need to say, what do I need? Now you have all the time in the world to focus on yourself, your dreams, the things you want to do. Let's start focusing on that, and not who are they texting, who are they with, and all these other things. It's going to take a minute, and that's not a lie. It's going to take you a little minute, but you're going to get it. Because at the end of the day, you can't control what they're going to do. If they already showed you who they were, you just got to take it for what it is and go ahead. Because that's what my biggest thing of learning was. If someone shows you who they are and how they will continue to treat you, you have to choose, am I going to be treated this way, or am I going to head out? And I hope that you choose to head out at any point. Even if you don't do it today, hopefully you choose. If you're being disrespected constantly, hurt, manipulated, gaslit, I really hope that you choose to leave, because it's not worth it, and you have to start learning your self-worth and what you are worth. The more you pour into yourself, this is why I suggest doing this, the more you will realize, if I could treat me this good, why would I allow someone else to treat me some type of way because they're mad, or they treat me some type of way because they don't know how to handle their emotions, or they're traumatized, or they're going through things. Okay, baby, you just gotta go to therapy. Like, you're not about to take it out on me for the rest of our life, like, for real. And when you pour into yourself, you realize, why would I allow someone to treat me like this if I treat myself like up here? Why would I allow you to come in my life and treat me like I'm down here when I know I'm up here? So it's all a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but that is something that can help you to start seeing your self-worth, is pouring into yourself and showing your self-love, and also just honestly going on a self-love journey. If you've honestly lost yourself, you don't know how to get back to yourself, going on a journey, finding out what you like to do, trying new hobbies, finding new friends, surrounding yourself with positivity and not negativity. Or if you're used to a certain environment, getting out that environment. There's a lot of different things you could do, and I could make an episode on a couple of things. And then also I do try to do some things on my vlog channel, which is Zylia Armani, I basically do weekly vlogs, and I'm on the journey of trying to find things to do, solo date and stuff like that, so you can also get ideas over there. And number 5, which is my favorite to suggest, is to get yourself a therapist and get into therapy. Because when I tell you, a therapist gonna get you right. A good therapist gonna get you right. Don't let one bad therapist ruin it for the rest. But a good therapist, she gonna get you right, or he gonna get you right. You gonna talk about the situation, and you gonna see their face turn like, what you just said? And I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. She's like, no, honey, that's not cool. And I'm like, what? And she makes me understand it, and I'm like, you'll be like, he did what? But you have to control your anger, because I know you're gonna get angry. Trust me, I just went through this whole cycle. I'm still going through it. But you're like, oh, okay. Oh, he's done. He's really done. And me and my therapist, I feel like that, like, friend bond. So I'm like, girl, let me tell you. She's like, girl. She's like, and you know what? And I'm like, I know this now. And she's like, she's always smiling and always saying she's proud of me. So it's like, especially if you don't have that, or have someone to tell you those things, I highly suggest getting a therapist for those reasons. But your girl has 100. Honestly, I could go on for an hour on different things you could do to start healing from a heartbreak. But we're going to stop at 5, and then we'll do part 2, and we'll keep doing it. But this is going to be the end of this episode. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please let me know in the comments your thoughts. If you have any suggestions on how to heal from a heartbreak, you could add them to the comments, and we could just start talking down there, and other people could get ideas, because we all gonna go through it at one point, or we all been through it, and we're still healing. So it's very helpful. But thank you so much for tuning in and listening, and don't forget to follow us on our socials, Instagram and TikTok. And also you can listen on Apple Podcasts, you can listen on Spotify or YouTube. Always remember, you have now found a safe place where you are accepted for who you are. I want you to know that you have a purpose in this life, even if you don't know it yet. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.